FYLPRO was founded 12 years ago, and you might be wondering why the last batch is batch 10. Anybody have an answer to that? COVID happened, right? That shut everything down. That being said, however, FYLPRO was not idle. We actually were very, very active. A lot of our alumni, a lot of our members really pulled our resources together, our knowledge together to do something that's very, very necessary for our community. Here to talk about FYLPRO's project, which is Tayo Help Desk. Please help me welcome Jobel Vecino. Come on up, Jobel.
Good evening, good day, everyone. My name is Jobel Vecino. I am the Chief Technologist of Tayo. In my day job, I am a software engineer at Amazon, where I have the honor and the privilege of being co-president of the Filipinos at Amazon, which attempts to represent all the Filipino employees and community within Amazon itself. I got involved with Tayo, it must be 4 years ago now. It was the second day I joined Amazon, and I met some folks that were FYLPRO alumni, and they essentially told me, hey, do you want to meet some other Filipino folks? I said, yeah, sure, why not? I got put in touch with Lizelle, the former president of FYLPRO, and she told me that they had this cool project going on. They needed someone to do some data and tech things, and then I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. Here we are 4 years later, and we've done like an amazing amount of things, an amazing amount of work since then. But what is Tayo exactly? Well, the word translates to us, or we, right? And really that is what it is. It's a story of us together. What originally started during the pandemic as part of a caretaker project to try to help the Filipino community handle and deal with the adversities of COVID has turned into a platform to collect and disseminate information and data about the Filipino community and the Filipino American community through various different means and various different mediums. So it is a project of FYLPRO. We have partnerships with a lot of different organizations, primarily nonprofits, and various foundations throughout our young existence. And we've been able to do a lot of different projects over the years. As we started, well, so to tell you a little bit about how the project itself started, some FYLPRO alumni inside of a Zoom call essentially were in the middle of the pandemic, were finding that a lot of their relatives were dealing with, were really worried about their family members during COVID, really worried about like what COVID might be doing or might do to their family members, especially folks who had parents that or other relatives that were first responders or essential workers or were immunocompromised. So essentially what happened was FYLPRO alumni came together and decided, hey, we gotta do something about this. They put together a project plan, presented it to the Booz Allen Foundation to essentially get some seed grant money. And from there, that's where we launched the first iteration of the Tayo website, or the Tayo web platform. And that started it out as a way for us to be able to explain disinformation around COVID and best practices around COVID. What's gone on since then is we've been able to have grants to be able to put on things like vaccine clinics, provide meals and PPE for first responders, put up and produce public service announcements for the Health and Human Services Department. We've been able to have multiple appearances at conferences throughout the United States and all over the world, including at some premier human rights conferences in places like Costa Rica and Washington, D.C. We've had $500,000 in grants since then to be able to fund our many research projects and our different efforts in the community to try to both collect misinformation and disseminate how to identify and how to better combat it. Since then, we've also launched 3 Tayo fellowship cohorts. So the fellowship cohort is essentially a mechanism for us to try to identify more young leaders within the Filipinx community. Folks that are in college or just getting out of high school or just getting out of college who might be interested in the Tayo mission and working with them so that we can develop their skills, both their leadership and their technical skills, research skills, and give them the ability to put together projects to help the people that they love and really care about. So where are we going now? Well, we're going towards this innovative data hub platform where we're trying to centralize research projects about the Filipino community and the Filipino diaspora in general. What that means is we're welcoming and we're trying to sponsor projects specifically starting with combating misinformation and information and disseminating information about health in the Filipino community, because there are things that are often communicated to folks within the community that might not be done in a particularly culturally relevant or particularly not in a particularly easy to understand way from people within their community, especially those that are seniors or elders. So we've started there. We've started to move into identifying news and misinformation. And we've been working with some other nonprofits as well to be able to train things like AI bots to be able to detect when a piece of news might be disinformation or not. So just to tell you all about an event that we have coming up soon, in partnership with the Alliance of Filipinos for Immigrants' Rights and Empowerment in Chicago, we are working with the Asian Disinfo Table on this workshop, which is called Learning from Our Histories. So this workshop is all about being able to have really difficult conversations with folks within your community, especially within your family, about really fractious issues, specifically around politics, about hot button issues, about things that, you know, would probably cause a fight in like a Thanksgiving sort of table situation. And it's really about being able to build the skills to be able to collect oral histories, because that is so much of our community and that's so much of what we're passing on within our community. So we hope to see you there. That's happening next Tuesday. If you have any interest at all in Tayo, in learning more about our projects and what we're doing, you can find me in the back over there. We also have some pamphlets as well. So hope to talk to you later on today.
So needless to say, FYLPRO and Tayo were very, very busy despite the shutdown, right? Thank you. So, you know, earlier we talked about the Philippine pre-colonial history. Goes back 700,000 years. I think Tayo is looking to match that with grants. Right now we're at 500. We're gonna get to 700 pretty soon. But at this point, one of the things that you'll hear when we talk about FYLPRO is legacy projects. And basically it's what the applicant is passionate about, that they want to work on once they're done with their immersion trip. And here to talk about CFAM, which is the Council of Young Phil-Ams in Medicine, Doctors Antonio Moya and Angelico Razon. Come on up, doctors.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Antonio Moya.
Mayung gabi, I'm Iko Razan. I'm a general internist and pediatrician.
And I'm a neurologist for Department of Health Services, Los Angeles. But we are both co-founders for the Council of Young Filipino Americans in Medicine. So a picture tells 1,000 words. This was actually from our conference at UCLA. Do you all know who that doctor is over here?
They're all
Who she is? So she's Dr. Connie Mariano. She was the first Pinay Filipina doctor for the White House. So she was the doctor for President Clinton as well as President Bush before. And we actually were able to get her as our keynote speaker, and she was just wonderful. She placed, like, the whole audience was on fire. We had about 150 plus people there. And really we're there to promote the mission of this organization. we want to make sure that, just like FYLPRO, we develop Filipino physician leaders or anyone who's in medicine to really represent the voice of our community. And then on top of that, make sure that, how many of you may have like pre-med or med student people in your family? Or pre-nursing? Yeah, it's Dr. Javier back there. So we wanted to make sure that for Filipinos as well, there is a clear pipeline for us to get from undergrad to become physicians here in the United States, as well as getting our IMG graduates from the Philippines to become physicians here in the US. And then finally, creating community partnerships, including working with Tayo Health, with other FYLPRO legacy projects, to make sure that we're really addressing the Filipino community health needs. And so Iko's going to talk a little bit more about more of the work that we've done.
Thanks, Antonio. And just to also contextualize why we believe our work is so important, while Filipino Americans represent us, depending on who you ask, like 17 to 20% of the Asian American population, Filipino Americans only represent 4% of med school applicants. And what that ends up happening is a kind of essentially visibility in the medical discourse and leadership. So as Antonio was mentioning, CFAM started as a legacy project of FYLPRO, as well as a committee of the Association of Philippine Physicians of America, and we are really proud about those collaborations because it's enabled us to become just recently a 501c3 organization. So that was only possible really through the fiscal sponsorship of the great FYLPRO organization and a lot of our colleagues who are actually in this audience today. So like Antonio mentioned, we just had our conference. We were able to invite people from all over the country to here in Los Angeles. And in addition to Dr. Mariano, we have materials if people are interested. And in addition to Dr. Mariano that we had there, I also had Dr. Joyce Javier, who actually shared some of her work in Filipino families and mental health. And mentorship is really important to our organization. We also like to highlight a lot of local community health efforts, including the medical students at the California University of Science and Medicine with their Bayan Clinic project. And then Antonio and I have actually had the privilege of mentoring some of them as they do community health screenings in the Inland Empire, which is really special to me because that's where actually I grew up in that Filipino community and actually do a lot of my current outreach efforts there as professionally as well. We also have year-round educational and community outreach events. I see there's a banner for XTP out there, but we're also just wrapping up one of our collaborations with Tayo, the flu and COVID vaccine community outreach. And we're just wrapping that up. What we're really excited about is kind of one of our news series. It's called Evening Report. For those who are in medicine, Morning Report is when you're bleary-eyed in the morning and you talk about cases. But even after medical students are really tired from being in the hospital, they actually come on Zoom, spend the night, and talk about the cases that they see of Filipino American patients, and talking about their approaches and their cultural kind of tailoring of that, as well as talking about really important public health issues facing the Filipino American community. If you're interested, we don't have a QR code like Tayo did, but our next event is April 24th. The theme is cancer care in the Filipino context. And we're really excited because there'll be students presenting because Antonio and I and our other FYLPRO members who are part of our board are really, really passionate about educating and mentoring the next generation of Filipino American physicians and community health advocates. So if you're interested in being a student or know a student or want to be a mentor or a collaborator, you can sign up and join more at www.cfam.org/join. So it's cfam.org, and we have lots of materials that we'd love to share with people who are interested. And most importantly, thank you so much to FYLPRO for really bringing this community. There's 4 delegates on our board, and I don't think we would have known each other if it had not been for. Well, we went to grad school together. But we met other people.
Dr. Neil Lincoln and Dr. Isa Palma. I'm sure you all know them. So they were part of the leadership and continue to help us grow the organization. So again, just think about all the folks who are Filipino in your lives who've had heart attacks, strokes, right? Cancer, breast cancer. It's just so much more prevalent in our community, mental health issues. What better than ourselves as physicians and nurses and other medical providers to serve our own community. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, one more time for CFAM. Continue doing a lot of great work. At this point, allow myself to introduce myself. I just realized I introduced myself earlier. But at this point, let me talk about Mabuhay Credit Union. Well, my name is Fred Doc Dossel. We just had two docs here earlier. I got two docs in my last name, and combined, I'm their size. But I represent Mabuhay Credit Union. Quick show of hands here. How many folks currently has or wants to own a home? Everybody room should be up, right? How many of you have currently or wants to buy their own car? All right. How many of you currently has a debit card, a credit card, or cash in your pocket right now? That's everybody, right? There's a saying, money is the root of all evil. That's actually only half true. The actual saying is the love of money is the root of all evil. Do you know that despite the fact that Filipino Americans are the second largest Asian group in California and consequently the rest of the US, up until recently we didn't really have our own full service financial institution supporting us. And that's the genesis of Mabuhay Credit Union. And that's my legacy project. I'm the community relations and business development coordinator for Mabuhay Credit Union. I do have some information here. So needless to say, Mabuhay Credit Union is a full-service financial institution specifically supporting the Filipino American and greater community here in Southern California with their financial services needs, right? And actually, for those of you that are not familiar, credit unions are similar to banks in the sense that we offer a lot of the same products and services, but credit unions are membership owned, which means that once you have a savings account with a credit union, you're quite literally a shareholder of the financial institution, which means you're helping to fund those that needs to borrow from the institution. And I am happy and proud to say that among our shareholders, you just heard from two of them, CFAM as well as FYLPRO. So we do have the support of the community. We physically moved into our location in Carson in 2019 before COVID. And over the years, we hit our 5-year goal within 3 years, which showed that the community is very, very underserved. And if you need to find out more about it, I do have my booth here. I got some giveaways, so some freebies, right? Some swag. Feel free to reach out to me.